Hello, everyone, and welcome to Overtalk. Tonight's little thing we have for you today is comp tanks. That's the subject for tonight. We have a wonderful list here of the subjects we'll be going through. First up is our thoughts on tanks in open and roll queue. I'm going to start off by saying I don't have that much experience with open queue, although it is not my favorite form of comp, as I've told you many times. Oh, God. But I can at least survey how tanks feel, and I can say tanks feel about as powerful as they did in Overwatch 2, which is not that powerful and very crippling. Unless you're running like 4 to 3 tanks in a semi or over-goated comp, when someone actually wants to do that, then it turns into stalemate wars. But hey, well, let's start with your opinions on the open comp.
In open com?
Yeah, open comp tanks.
I haven't played open comp tank in a long time. I mostly do healer nowadays. And the whole point of open comp is you can be a monkey wrench in a situation, but that's sometimes not necessary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it.
But back when I did play comp in open queue, it wasn't this was like back in like 2019, so this was like
Oh
years ago.
lord.
Yeah, it was like a long time.
Oh lordy.
It was a long time. So I would say open comp nowadays isn't a reflection of what open comp actually is. It's more of what it's turned into after Rollock
Back
has
in
been
my day.
introduced. Yes, back in my day.
Boomer.
I know, right? I'm like a boomer of the Overwatch community.
My
Oh
day
my
was so
God.
much better, so simpler times.
Yeah,
Oh,
a
you
little bit.
fangled kids. Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn, whippersnapper. Ah. My knees, my back hurts carrying my team back in the day. Oh my
Back in
God.
my day of CSGO.
Oh my God. See, I have no knowledge of CSGO.
That's
Thankfully, we're not talking about that.
thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully, we're not talking about that.
Now, then tell us what it was like.
What it was like,
Boomer.
Boomer. Well, I play off tank. Even back then, I played off tank. Sometimes I would swap to quote unquote main tank. Like, in the closest I would get to a main tank is Orisa. And we all know how, like, she's kind of a main tank, kind of an off tank. She's like that middle ground,
I don't know.
depending on who she's paired with.
I don't know.
Like, if she's paired with Orisa, like, or sorry, if Orisa's paired with, like, D.Va, for
Orissa's
example.
paired with Orissa. Oh God,
Yeah,
you went pretty far back, didn't you?
yeah, I don't know. When
That's that's a
Orisa
that's,
is,
that's a
like,
lot
paired
far.
with,
That's a lot
oh
farther
my
back than
God, shut up.
2019.
Shut up. Oh my God. Okay, so if Orisa's, like, paired with
Ma
D.Va, for
Orissa,
example,
a paired with Orissa, a paired with Orissa,
yeah,
a paired with
oh my
Orissa, a
God.
pair with Orissa.
Well, when she's paired with a D.Va, for example,
I hate it.
she would be more of a main tank in that situation. Versus when she's paired with like a Reinhardt, because Sigma wasn't out back in that day. So, when she was paired with like a Reinhardt, she would feel more like an off tank in that situation, despite having a good shield, quote unquote good shield. It was very questionable back then, but it's despite it.
I'd say
Um,
her shield's pretty good nowadays.
yeah, I would say off tank. God,
Although, oh, what
for
was
off
it?
tank, it was actually really fun. I liked
Side
playing
note.
off tank in open comp.
Side
I
note.
did. I liked it.
I
What?
hate pairing a diva up with Orissa.
Yeah, like shit like that happened all the
It
time back
just
then.
it just doesn't work. It
Yeah.
just really doesn't work with like a diva.
I it depends. On paper, it doesn't work. Like, you know what I mean? Like on paper, like a Ryan and a Diva don't really make sense together
No,
because,
Orion diva does make sense in my opinion.
well, they don't really make sense on paper because the whole point of Ryan's shield is that he's supposed to protect his team. The whole point of Diva is to jump in the back line. So really, if you're going dive, you don't want someone who is stagnated, but like is what's the word I'm looking for? Someone who is more like
Crippled? Crippled?
bunker. No, bunker. So you
Crippled,
don't
you mean?
really
You mean the fucking cripple? Can't move up that fast?
maybe unless you have like a Lucio or something. So like a lot of times if you would see
Paraplegic
a
patient?
Ryan in a dive comp, you would pair a Lucio with him so that way he would go faster, he'd swing like he'd move faster,
I
right?
would I would disagree in the sense that
All right.
Diva nowadays I feel
Nowadays. This
well
is back in the day, but
okay
nowadays.
well I can only say for nowadays. Um, I'd say Diva Ryan is much better than Zarya Ryan today. Just because
No.
that no, hear me out. You need to hear me out, woman.
I will hear you out, but like no,
The
I'm already
reason
telling you no.
the reason I think it's better is that because so Zarya the reason that Zara Ryan worked so well before is that Ryan's like this basic bitch tank that has this large shield, basic bitch, super huge body, takes a lot of damage, takes a lot of healing. You know, he's the antithesis, the basic point of what a tank is.
Hmm.
Zarya would be what I would call the basic antithesis of an off tank. She can protect her teammates if she needs to, and she can protect one person if she needs to, or herself.
Hmm.
She doesn't have a shield of her own. She has bubbles instead, which only last a few seconds, and she can do damage, but that's basically what an off tank is. You can be behind
Hmm.
your main tank, you can be in front of your main tank, you can play around them, and you can help protect them and move up with them and do damage with them, and you do only as good as your main tank does. And so beforehand, I feel Zarya Ryan is like this classic combo of Ryan takes a shit ton of damage, you put a bubble on him, you get your charge up, the Ryan pushes up, the Zarya can push up with him. It's just Zarya has a shitload of damage that she can put out, and she can still protect people from a good decent amount of ults if she's skilled enough,
Hmm.
and fill in the gaps that Ryan can't. Ryan has a big old shield that's real simple to understand. You don't have to have that many brain cells to play around a Ryan. It's very simple, or at least it should be. But I think Diva works out better, in my opinion, because the shortcomings of Azaria is that if someone moseys up on the Reinhardt, like dives in, Zarya can't do anything,
Hmm.
and then she's fucked. Because she plays around the Reinhardt, but if she's forced away from the Reinhardt, or she's forced to go deal with something in the backline, your whole frontal like barrier system that you had before kind of fucks over.
Hmm. Okay.
I prefer a diva because a diva can still block damage. She can take a lot of damage without it really being any cost to her. Since if she does get demacked, her ult charge will still build up, but build up faster now to get her mech back.
Yeah. So
And
they patched in that you're not supposed to get ult charge now being as baby diva. I feel sad that they patched that out. Not gonna lie, I feel sad that they patched that out. I understood why, but
well, still, you can block damage with your matrix. You can do decent damage up close, just like Zarya can, because her shotgun, it's a shotgun blast pellet with rockets. She does pretty good close range damage with rockets at meh, long range damage.
hmm.
She can. The idea here, though, is that if there's something in the backline, she can go deal with it, and then fly back relatively fast,
Hmm.
and have it be no deficit because she can dive back to their backline or our backline to help out. And she can fly, so it's just easier for her to get around. Versus a Zarya, where again Zarya can be nice, but if she's not on the frontal assault, Zarya is kind of worthless. Whereas a diva can do both.
Hmm.
That and I prefer the comboing of a diva much better, just because a diva will get at least 2 bombs per 1 grav. Grav takes a long ass time to charge, and I don't like using Grav a lot because Grav and Shatter are like kind of the same ultimate, if you ask me. Grav holds them in place all at one place for a long period of time and does a little bit of damage, and Shatter slams them down, stunning them all in one place where they were
Mhm.
originally. It can be okay to have both tank ults do the same thing, and I feel that it was very nice in having flexibility like that. Ryan would get one every, what, you could get at least two per point if you're doing real bad,
Yeah.
maybe four per point if you're doing really well. And anyways, D.Va just, I feel, combos so well with it because she can drop a bomb. If they're all down, she drops a bomb, boom, instant combo. D.Va gets her ult back real fast, and Ryan gets his back even twice as fast.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
So, in my opinion, a D.Va is just more. I like having a D.Va more than, say, like a Zarya, because, like, nowadays I feel Zarya is kind of dropped off in terms of how much she's really needed and how much I want her as a secondary. Of course, I'm a main tank
Mhm.
main, so I'm not an off tank main, and I know that Zarya is probably one of the easiest off tanks to play, just as Ryan, but just like Ryan, that as you start getting more varied in your picks and counters, the more basic tanks stop feeling like they're useful.
Mhm.
Because now you gotta be specific in what you're going to counter with. But continue on with your open queue stuff.
So for sorry, you lost my train of thought
You were on
with your
D.Va off
explanation.
tank, D.Va off tank, open queue, 2019.
Okay. So, I was definitely a better diva than I am now. Because I've played healer so much, my skills do need to be refreshed. But from what I can remember back in like 2019, um, granted, different type of community back then.
Oh yeah.
It was very dive comp heavy from what I
Mm-hmm.
remember. You either went full bunker or you went full dive. It wasn't like a mixture like it is now. I find that a lot of times it's more mixed between a little bit of dive and a little bit of bunker or pirate, whatever, like
It isn't
depending
where
on.
like there's like a half dive, half like
Yeah.
stationary, where you move in
Yeah.
slowly and the other half dives from behind to take them. Like
Yeah,
I'd say
exactly.
it's more of a pincer. You're
Yeah,
a pincer
pincer type
comp.
of comp, yeah. Um so what I like to do typically was to dive into their back line, screw up a few people. If I get a kill, great. But back in that time, as long as you're disrupting the backline, getting a kill wasn't exactly like a huge big deal. Because a lot of times, if you made them turn around, your DPS would do their job. DPS would do their job, and then they would kill everyone while their backs were turned.
Sounds like you
So a
have a
lot of
contention point
times,
there.
well, a lot of times, I feel like I dive, and especially now, and the DPS are like, "Oh, you didn't get a kill," and I'm like, "It's not really my job to as a dive though. Like I'm supposed to be distracting." And you could make the statement that, well, back then with dive, it was like a different style of play as it is now, which I can definitely understand. So
Hyper
nowadays when I
aggro.
dive, yeah, exactly. So nowadays, if I'm gonna go hyper aggro and flank in their backline, I try to at least get a kill or two.
I mean,
But back
back
in
then
that
didn't
time,
didn't you have like a what wasn't the comp like Diva, Monkey, Genji, um,
I didn't see too many Genjis back then. I saw a lot of
like
Hanzos.
Hanzo, like I'm thinking like Diva, Monkey, Reaper, Hanzo, uh, Lucio,
Lucio
and
definitely was a pick.
Lucio, maybe Moira, or
Lucio Moira is a big thing, yeah. It wasn't like a Zen Lucio that we see now. I see a lot of Zen Lucios. Is there a reason for that?
yeah. So the
Like, who
main
made a video saying that that makes sense? Because it
okay,
doesn't make
so
sense to me.
you know how technically speaking a Brig Zen will work because if the Zen doesn't die, your team has a constant flow of rolling damage.
Right.
So the Brig's staying behind to protect the Zen, and you're all sticking pretty close to each other. And when you are diving, everybody's diving and leaving the Zen and Brig alone.
hmm
The idea with that is that if the Zen doesn't die, your damage never dies. You continuously keep like this rolling stone meta up of like
hmm
the rolling stone of one person spawns, you discord them, you kill them. Next person spawns, you're just allowing them to trickle, and or you allow them to trickle and spread out, and you kill them one by one. So like
So it's more like a what's it called? Fuck.
I would call it like a mafioso kind of comp style.
Mafioso.
The Don saying, "Take him
The
out.
stagger play
Here's your
style.
Here's a contract to take him out. He's coming around the left side. Go get him. Merc him on
Oh
ice. Merc him
jeez.
on the right. He always
No
coming up
thanks.
Main Street. Bump him full of lead.
I'm full of lead. Oh Jesus.
Bump that bastard full of lead. Hey, you got it done. Good job." But like Zen's the mafioso, and there's just Brig, like his side guard, just buff as fuck,
Well,
sitting
yeah.
by him.
Okay,
"Hey,
I
why'd you
can
come
see
in to
that.
talk to the Don? You didn't make an appointment. Get the fuck out of here." So that can work. Although I think the reason people are playing a lot of Lucio Zen now is Lucio Zen is still in the same frame. It's just that instead, what you find a lot now is you'll have, instead of the Brig staying behind, you get a Diva that stays
Hmm.
behind. What'll happen is you get a Lucio to stay with the team, and you get a Zenyatta and a Diva, oddly enough, to sit behind.
Hmm.
And the Diva essentially sits around a corner somewhere and will pepper them with like rockets, or anyone that comes near the Zen will just fly in, bump them around, and fuck them up.
Hmm.
And a Diva is a lot harder to contend with a Zenyatta than like say a Brig is, because the issue with Brig is you could like get a sniper, pick her off, and then Zen's easy pickings. If you have a Diva
Yeah,
there,
exactly.
Diva can shield and body block. It's like, "Come here, Mr. President, we're getting you out of here."
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Although it never, again, it's still the same kind of meta of the Rolling Stone. The way that the Rolling Stone gets countered is you all group up and then you push together.
Hmm.
Because the Rolling Stone is, the whole point of Rolling Stone comp is that you're trying to tilt one of the players. You're trying to tilt them so that they start getting angry and start doing brash, dumb things.
Hmm.
Like they go off on their own. They go to the left on their own. They go way ahead on their own before their team catches up with them, and they fucking die. And then your team moves in, and then you're at a deficit.
Hmm.
Because then you're waiting
Okay.
5 seconds, and then you're waiting 5 seconds, and then they start kicking off another person. So you're always down one, or at least down two, and you're always trying to retreat, but your team isn't always retreating. It's in that like middle stage of they're coming back to spawn, but you're fighting them enough to keep them to push up. So they push up, you kill one, you let them come back, you push them up again, they kill, rinse, repeat.
Hmm. Okay.
Whereas the counter is just sit and spawn, wait for everyone to spawn, then push out together, and then you pick them one or off, and then after you take one kill out of a Rolling Stone comp, just like a bunker, it shatters. Because now you've stopped the stone, they have to keep it getting rolling again, and to start getting it rolling again is a lot harder now because they've two of the slowest heals in the game, two very large tanks that have large health pools, and they have to get a pick with a whole team there now.
Okay, okay.
It's a more gamble version of Rush Comp.
Right, right, okay. That kind of makes sense, yeah.
Continue with what you were saying.
Yeah, so basically I really just feel like at least for off tank, it's a lot less you dive
Mm-hmm.
to help your team to like turn them around and like pincer them in a sort of stage versus like now it's up to the tanks really to pull as much damage instead of how that was originally like the damage's job to do like the damage, if that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Now, my experience with open queue with
Oh God.
tanks, I warning,
I hate it.
warning to all of you out there that enjoy this game mode. I hate it. I fucking hate it as
I
a
knew it.
I hate it as a tank main, As a main tank main, as a tank enjoyer, no, 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 it don't, no, 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 why, no,
He's just straight up
why?
against it.
I'm straight up what?
You're just straight up against it.
Like,
Which is fine, you know?
it feels like playing Overwatch 2, except none of the tanks got a buff, and there's only a damage buff for the DPS. Shield tank? Nah, it's gone. Off tank? It's just health. You're gonna die so fast. Armor? You survive 2 seconds longer than the Reinhardt.
Mm-hmm.
Your team doesn't want to push with you, spreads out like wildcats getting hunted by coyotes, and they all die like one too.
Aww.
They die on their own, picked off in some alleyway because they thought they would flank the Widow.
Yes, that happens a lot.
Or, I'll say, my experiences with open comp been very bad. I've played 30 games. That's how many games I played. 30 games. So not outside of
not
my
like
10,
hours on hours.
not including my 10 placements. Not including my 10 placements.
Yeah.
So 30 games beyond my 10 placement matches. By the way, those placement matches fucking sucked. Once again, it felt like the best way I could describe it for you in terms of placement tanks is if you're playing tank in a placement match, it feels like I had to sweat my balls off, quite literally sweating at the end of each round because I'm fucking hyper intensively stressed out focus on doing every little thing perfect. It's like bunny hopping in CS:GO. It's oh my god. It felt awful. However, the exhilarating moment of being able to be a Reinhardt and get higher eliminations than all my DPS and like go on like a kill streak and beat up the fucking backline was a nice treat.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a nice treat being able to like merc on every fucking hit scan they had and to like do rampaging damage.
Mm-hmm.
What I didn't like though is that it feels like tanks ultimately are a deficit in open comp every
Mm-hmm.
step of the way. Because no one's playing as a team, nobody's wanting to group up, meaning shield tanks are kind of worthless in my opinion.
Okay.
No one wants to group up, no one wants to stay with you, no one wants to be around you. So Reinhardt feels the hardest, and I play all main tanks, so fuck me, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But shields aren't super useful from what I found in open comp. Just because there's so much damage and so much shield break, it's just not worth it. And then you get stuck without a shield and now you can't do anything. Because part of your kit is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Versus, like, say, Roadhog, D.Va, Zarya, Ball even. Even though Ball has a shield, it's only a self-shield. They have a much better time playing the game. Because Roadhog can heal on his own, get kills if he wants to. He's like a beefier DPS.
Mm-hmm.
Ball can do the same thing. So can D.Va, and Zarya has self-sustain. They have the ability to survive on their own outside of their team. And they fit in so well because if you have, like, one off tank and, like, one off tank, 4 DPS, and 1 healer, it functions so much better because now your whole divide and conquer strategy of pincering people works out because you don't have to worry about grouping up. I can
Mm-hmm.
just exist and do damage and be fine.
Right.
So in that regard, it's fun, but also I don't want to have to play off tank. If I want to tank in a role queue game, you essentially cut out half the tanking roster. Because I did join 1 or 2 goats comps groups for open queue. They didn't do so hot.
No.
Mainly because every single match you get placed with a Bastion and a Mei. All 30 games, there was a Bastion and a Mei in it. On the other team.
Yes. For
So,
some reason, that's like a new strat now.
I mean, it kind of works. You freeze them down and then you mow them down, break the
Yeah.
shield, make them annoyed. Like, it's just really fucking annoying. Can it be countered by a good Pharah or a Junkrat? Yep. But most games, most DPS, I could tell you here were the DPS I mostly got queued up with: Soldier, McCree, Reaper, Hanzo, Genji, Widowmaker, and Bastion was on my team.
Hmm.
Nobody else beyond those characters. And the same stereotypes still apply. Hanzo says, I'll get a pick, and then I switch, and never gets a pick until the very end, and then he switches by the time the game's over. Um,
Yeah.
Hanzo misses every shot she has. Bastion usually gets killed because he was stuck in a corner somewhere and didn't move. Um, Pharah won't kill the Bastion, instead focuses on a Junkrat or something. Reaper goes behind and does shit, but we can't do anything because nobody wants to group up, and it's the same issues as before.
Hmm. Okay.
Beyond that, I think the reason I mostly don't like open role comp, is I'm a tank and support main, and those two classes are not really liked in open queue. Most people won't give a shit if you have a healer or not, and if you do have a healer, they're not going to protect you. And if you play tank, no one will group up with you. So it's kind of like a lost cause,
Hmm.
because it's DPS comp, which is 5, maybe 6 DPS. And at that point, it's more of a team deathmatch. Oh well, funny how that works out. There's a competitive team deathmatch, but nobody plays it.
I mean, I hate competitive deathmatch. I never understood it.
I mean, it's kind of like open comp, you know, all DPS comp versus DPS comp.
Oh, jeez, no thanks.
All jokes aside, though, it's just not a game mode for me.
Hmm.
And out of the 30 games that I played with it, I see most of the issues come down to there is no consistency, and the only consistency that you can have is yourself.
Hmm.
And that doesn't guarantee you a win. That you could be trying. I think another thing I don't like about it is that you can be trying your heart out as a tank player, and you still won't win. Because
Yeah,
like
I can understand that
there
thought.
were games as like Reinhardt and like roll queue, I would be so there was games in the open queue that I'd play as Reinhardt. I ended up with 15,000 damage, 17,000 damage blocked. I had 9 Earth Shatters, a bunch of Fire Strike kills. I was doing shit,
Hmm.
but we still lost. Versus in a roll comp scenario, those stat numbers would win me a game. Or if not
Hmm.
win me a game, give me a tie. You know what I mean?
Yeah, know exactly what you mean.
But an open queue, that doesn't necessarily translate to a win. That just translates to I was sweating my ass off, but it didn't lead to a win. And I feel that's
Hmm.
what's so frustrating about it, that there's no category of me being able to sit down and say, if I do this, I can win. Whereas
Hmm.
I just have to try harder magically next time and hopefully I win. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you
And I
mean.
part of it is like I know there's probably gonna be some people that say, well, you could have switched. You could have switched and done something different. But part of the thing that makes OpenQ run smoothly is when you have the basic, very basic commodities of one tank, one healer, at least one DPS. That'll make a team function.
Hmm.
If it's all 5 DPS, you can't push up because they're going to get one tank, and if you can't break that shield, you're done. If they add off tank now, well, you're even more screwed now because you have 2 beefy motherfuckers on the other team. So now you need to get a tank. Well, if you don't get a tank, you're going to lose. It's the same thing if you have too many tanks, there's not enough ways you can heal them. Anyways,
It's kind of like a catch-22 situation.
you know,
You just keep going round and round in circles, and it never ends.
and that's why I said to you, open queue to me feels like a try hard quick play.
Hmm.
You try your hardest, your heart out. You're not guaranteed to win. Just like quick play, you're not guaranteed to win, but you can also play it casually and have little to no deficit.
Hmm.
That's what I feel open queue's turned into. It has turned into try hard's quick play because people don't go to quick play anymore for try harding. They go there for casual play,
Hmm.
and all the try hards move to a different game mode. When it wasn't classic quick play, it was probably open queue. And you have this weird mixture now where people are going back to try harding and quick play again. So it's this weird setup of because roll queue is in quick play, it's technically always try harding because it's a balanced team.
Hmm.
And if you just fuck around, you're gonna lose, and no one really wants to lose. So you have to put
Yeah.
some effort into it. And open queue is literally just I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. Fuck all of you.
Yeah, I can see that. I could definitely see it being like that or it feeling like that, yeah.
So what I consider open queue now is more of a drinking game. For every one you win, you take a sip of water, and for every one you lose, you take a sip of vodka or bourbon.
Don't drink, kids. It's not good for you.
Or do, liver cancer's nice.
No, it's not. Shush, don't listen to him.
It's very nice, don't listen to her. Flo, I am the Bourbon 05. Now I am inside your mind. Leave the
YouTube,
girl,
don't
you don't
demonetize
need
this,
her.
please.
Hello, boy, I am the PS5. Oh, boy. Anywho, though, roll comp. What are our thoughts on roll
Roll
comp?
comp.
What are your thoughts on roll comp tanks?
Roll comp. This one I've been playing a bit more. Um, Granted, I think I can't remember what my what do you call it is now, what my rank is now, but I think I'm like silver. I'm trying to push it into gold right now. But right now I'm silver, so
No, you're platinum.
take no, I'm platin and healer. God, I wish I was platin tank.
I thought you were platinum tank.
No, I'm platin healer. I basically only ever play healer. So that's like the stat I mostly care about is working that up and making sure that I get that one tip top.
Okay, well, continue. Roll Q tank.
Um yes. So for roll Q tank, I don't mind it. Maybe it's because of my elo. I can definitely see it being because of my elo. But like I said, I run into the same problems of the way I used to play open is basically how I still play locked. Is I dive in, I try and get one or two kills, and then my DPS goes and, deals the damage, and I try and clean up what I can. Um, and for some reason that doesn't really work.
Hmm. Almost like they're
I
different systems.
I know, I know, like, but it doesn't really work that way anymore. So like I'm climbing. It's not like it's not hard to do. Like I am
Mm-hmm.
climbing, but I don't know. It's just I think the mindset of how people view tanks now versus how people viewed tanks back then. Um, because back then DPS did their job and they pumped out as much damage as possible, and tanks went and they cleaned up what they could. Does that make sense? Whereas versus nowadays, like it feels like tanks are supposed to be the ones pumping out damage, and then DPS are supposed to be doing the cleanups. And I'm like, but your job is to pump out damage. That's why your whole DPS damage per second thing. You're supposed to be the one pumping out damage, not me. So, That's a little confusing, but
Hmm. Fair enough. My thoughts on, well, I mean, okay, so in regards to what you said, how they feel different, they are a bit different in terms of how they're seen. Although I believe that difference comes into play that the logic would be if you're a main tank, why wouldn't you be getting a majority of the damage or cleanup kills? Because,
mhm,
like, I'm thinking in terms of, like, dive, because dive is still really popular. Winston is not going to be getting kills on his own. I've not seen a Winston yet take a DPS from full health to zero health all on his own.
mhm,
It's usually accompanying someone else and he gets a cleanup kill. It's kind of like Moira getting a cleanup kill.
mhm. Okay.
Moira's not overpowered in the damage department, nor is she overpowered in the healing in the DPS department. She can do damage, but it's not lots of damage. It's just she does enough damage to be able to finish foes off. So when she throws like an orb, she's not doing a shit ton. She's just cleaning up the kills.
Mhm. Okay.
It's like the whole dynamic of like Soldier and Junkrat. Junkrat gets the damage, Soldier gets the kills.
Mhm.
So if you're up front with like say like a Winston, you're gonna be cleaning up a lot of kills. Same thing with Reinhardt. Reinhardt does a lot of damage up front, but you can usually either get a kill or clean up most kills as a Reinhardt. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Just because you're up front all the time. Same thing with Roadhog or although with Roadhog it's a bit different in the sense that it's bad if Roadhog has gold damage or even silver, because then that means your DPS aren't doing anything.
Mhm.
Because while he pumps out a lot of damage, at maximum I think you're only going to get 8,000 damage in a game, maybe 10,000 if you're really, really fucking landing every single hook. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it just seems like nowadays your tanks are supposed to be bulky DPSers. I mean, that still kind of fits within the realm of a tank, because the whole point of like a tank, if we're taking it like D&D terms and like RPG terms, where it came from, a big hulking mass that can do decent damage, not lots of damage, but decent damage.
Mhm.
That has high health, high armor, and is just a pain in the ass to take down, while the other team focuses on everyone else. So I believe your definition still applies here. It's just that certain tanks have been tweaked to have different requirements of what's good now. It's like Diva.
Mhm.
I feel Diva has better concentrations on getting kills because Diva does a shitload of damage when you're point blanking her. Like if you fire your rockets and your shotgun shells point blank on anyone, it's gonna reduce your health like lickety split.
Yeah, I feel like she's always been like that. She's always been very like close range again. That's why she's like relatively dive.
So that's probably why like they're giving you hard times when you're not getting a kill, because you're going into the back line where there's like healers at 200 health, maybe only 220. Pretty low, all things considered.
Mhm.
And if they have like an honor as Zen, heaven forbid you don't get a kill on the Zenyatta. Eesh. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they get a little upset about it.
It's just that I think it's more of just a developing logic pattern of certain tanks do shit tons of damage. Why wouldn't you be getting high amounts of kills and damage?
Mhm. Okay.
Just like logical progression, like a Junkrat. Why wouldn't you have gold damage as Junkrat? Or higher damage.
Higher damage. Yeesh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, in terms of my thoughts of role queue comp for tank, I'd say it's nice. I'm getting sick to death of Czar Ryan comp. If you haven't had the chance to see yet, I'm fucking sick to death of it.
Most of the time you say something along the lines of, I don't want a Zarya if I'm playing Ryan. You say something along the lines of it.
Yeah, I really don't. Um, it's nice. It's what's comfortable, but in the same essence, a Bastion Junkrat is super comfortable. That doesn't mean it's gonna work though.
Hmm.
I think my main contention point is that just like Hanzo, I see them everywhere,
Hmm.
and just like a Hanzo, they do well for 1 or 2 points. It's just that the ult takes forever to charge up, and if they miss it, or they whiff it, or they die, or they don't get enough ult charge, you've essentially wasted 10 minutes of time building up fucking Grav for one ultimate chain.
Hmm.
Granted, Grav has the ability to completely wipe a whole team out if you do it right, but so does Dragon, and Dragon can build up even faster, or so does, like, Roadhog. It's just like, there's so many better ultimates to use.
So it's like, why wouldn't you choose that one instead?
Why wouldn't you choose that one? And also, Zarya's kind of hard to play nowadays because there's a lot of things that are out of her range. People have gotten smarter over the years, or at least somewhat smarter, where they've learned getting close to a high charge Zarya is a very bad thing. Now they don't do it anymore, and they stay pretty far behind.
Maybe it's just because I'm at lower elos, but it seems like their bullets just magnetize to my bubble, and I get high charge really easy.
However, the other thing as well is that people have also learned the secret that just like a Bastion can outpace a Zarya, so can a Junkrat and a Pharah.
Hmm.
If you focus the fuck out of a Zarya, she will not die. Well, sorry, she will die. She will die very fast. Because just like a Bastion can keep up that constant damage to outpace her bubble and just like, ha, you bubbled? Okay, whatever. You know what I mean?
You've released my trap card. Here you go.
You've activated my trap
That's
card,
it.
you fool! Bastion!
Oh god.
So, like, a Junkrat shooting in a Zarya's bubble obviously don't do it, but it's a bit harder since Junkrat has, well, large blast damage. Like, his area of blast is pretty big.
Hmm.
But, generally speaking, you can kill a Zarya with Focus Fire, and I feel that's one of her biggest flaws right now, is that a lot of people are playing more hit scans, or they're playing very single focus target DPS now,
Hmm.
and because of that, Zarya's not super useful anymore because she can't gain high charge, that much high charge off of a bullet versus a projectile, just because damage difference.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So like Diva, Hog, Ball are much more favorable. Hog can self-sustain and hook and kill people. Diva can go to the back line of either team and protect people. Ball can get in the back line and disrupt them just as Diva can, but he can also stay in that back line for a lot longer.
Hmm.
And he has an area to dying ult. Like, I just don't like Zarya. In terms of the other main tanks, um, Ball is hardly ever played, at least in my
Hmm.
elo, which is a good thing. I don't accept Ball in my elo. Another thing is I will hardly ever find somebody playing Orisa. And for whatever reason, I don't understand this, but people have this inclination that Orisa should be behind the Reinhardt. So if you have like a Reinhardt, Orisa
Hmm.
should set her shield right behind the Reinhardt and then sit like 2 meters behind her shield.
Okay.
I've encountered so many people screaming at me that I play like Orisa at like a corner. You know, like at Volskaya, the second point,
Yes.
where there's that corner, like there's the choke, there's the right side you can go around, and then you have the middle choke point where everyone can swarm in.
Hmm.
I usually stick my shield the front middle point, set it there, and then peek around the corners every so often to get like shooting fire.
Hmm.
People will complain to me that I'm playing Orisa wrong or whatever. They want me to play on the point, shooting from a distance.
I think it also comes down to everyone. Ev- how do I explain this in the nice way? Everyone wants you to play how they view the character should be played. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you could vouch for me on this. I have this happen a lot with Mercy.
Healbot Mercy.
When when I see someone playing Mercy incorrectly, or at least what I feel like is incorrectly, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
of course there's like the very blatant like, okay, like you're healing someone for
Oh, is
like
that why I never get allowed to play Mercy with you?
maybe, I don't know, but like other than like the very blatant like you're not bouncing between people, you're not keeping up the heals enough, because when you think about Mercy is still technically classed as a main healer, and depending on how much damage the other team is putting out, Mercy can keep up with it pretty easily, so she doesn't need to worry too much about that type of stuff.
I know it's mostly people like bullshitting and complaining.
Yeah.
I guess for my analysis and my thoughts on like main tanks are fine. I wish, hear me out. I wish shields were stronger.
Yes.
I honestly think one of the biggest issues in Overwatch 1 now is shields are too weak. Yes, before shields were way too strong, with having Reinhardt having a 2000 shield and you do damage against it, and it's like, oh, you did 90 damage. Whoop de fucking do.
Congratulations.
Woo!
Do it again. Do it again, I dare you.
But now there's like Reaper does like 120 damage versus a shield. Junkrat does 100 per bomb. Soldier is fucking busting it down. It's like it feels like a McCree can like waltz up, do 70 damage, and it's still a shit ton because Ryan only has 1,600 health now for a shield.
Yeah. Now it feels like it's too much versus what we had.
Especially in Overwatch 2, where they gave him 1,200 health, and they buffed damage even further. So now McCree's doing like 90 damage, and
Hmm.
Junkrat's doing like 150. It's like holy fucking shit, guys! Please stop! Please stop!
Can we calm down now, please?
I'm dying. I don't like it. It's scary, and that's why I still think double shield will still continue to be played so much, is because there's just a lot of damage.
Hmm.
That's why I think Die was slowly beckoning off, like backing off,
Yeah.
because there's just so much damage that even like a direct counter or a soft counter, it doesn't matter if you're a soft counter or not, because there's so much damage, you can often kill something with a soft counter with raw damage alone.
Hmm.
You know what I
It's like
mean?
I don't know how I feel about that. Um,
And I don't know how I feel about it either, because if a soft counter can just kill something with raw damage, but a direct counter can kill them with their abilities, what's the difference here between a direct and a soft counter?
hmm.
Which has even bigger implications if you want to think about it in terms of like the whole main to off tank dynamic of if main tanks, shield tanks, aren't all that great anymore because they have a lower shield, and you look to off tanks, that's why I think like in some cases, in most cases actually, a Hog Zarya is a much better play than a Rein Zarya, because a Hog can do damage, get picks, and continue to move when he has a big beefy health bar that he can heal himself with.
Hmm.
And Zarya can bubble off that and get shit tons of damage because everyone just says, "Oh look, a Hog! Let me pull it. Let me fill it full of lead."
Exactly.
And they all shoot the Hog, and Zarya's like, "Boom, instant 100% or 80% charge." Just like,
I mean, it does feel really good when you see the other team fuck up something like that. Yeah.
and so, or if you're doing that, it like they don't want to shoot the Hog, but they also don't want to shoot you. So it's like they'll shoot you in sparing amounts,
Hmm.
which makes Hog's job so much easier and Zarya's job. So maybe that's why off tanks are just being run more. Also, let me put this out there: Monkey's not a counter to Symmetra. Hit scans are.
No. No, 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 no. Yeah, no, Monkey, Orisa, Who else? Sigma kind of, but
No.
not as
No.
much. Well, I say Sigma kind of not as much, depending on the Sigma. If the Sigma sees that there's a sim on their team, they're not going to be dumb enough to keep their shield up. You know, it's kind of like a Rhine. Like, ideally, if you see a sim on the enemy team, it's best to go as much dive as possible, X Winston. So like Hog, for example, Diva, like those kinds of characters, because Sim can recharge her
What
bullets
I
off of the
what I
off
think
the field.
one of the main issues I'm finding right now is people are so fucking scared to run double off tank or double shield tank.
I think it's because of inexperience, which I can completely understand that if it's because of inexperience.
I think it's a little bit of inexperience, but I also think it's I think um higher elo players are to blame for this one a little bit
Mm.
because I see a lot of like higher Overwatch players like in like Master and Grandmaster talking about like the double off tank and double shield being shit metas up there. It's like great, it's a shit meta up there, but like again, it's like the trickle down thing. People listen to the highest shouting person in the door, and because all the big streamers are in Masters top 500, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the biggest Overwatch players ever that talk the most in the community are the most largest in terms of skill. That's great, but for a majority, I think a lot of people are just scared to run double shield or double off tank because if the top 500 person says it's bad, it must be bad.
Yeah. Which
When
most of the time, I mean,
again,
they're top 500 for a reason.
again, he can speak for his elo, but I'm still of maybe I'm just a hipster, but it's still of my opinion that even if a person who's at a top 500 says something, that doesn't exactly make it true because they're speaking from their elo
Hmm.
in their experience and they're talking from plat above. No one speaks for bronze, silver, gold.
Hmm.
So, double shield, great. Bronze, silver, gold, double shield's phenomenal. Uh, double off tank depends. If you're running dive, definitely choose the dive characters. If you're not running dive, don't choose the dive characters.
Hmm.
Combos are like Hog Zarya. Zarya Diva does not work. Zarya Diva does not work. Don't try it. Reason it doesn't work is Diva goes into the backline, except
Not comp. I don't think it works for comp, no.
Diva has too much sustainability, and Zarya does not. And then Zarya is left alone, and Zarya is the weak link.
Hmm. It kind of leaves Arya out in the dust, and it's like, you shouldn't really
A
do that to your
a Diva
teammates.
Hog can work. Diva Hog works better. Although it's a little awkward as most of the time Hog's alone, so you have to have some DPS that can help him out.
Hmm.
If you're running like a Hog Diva, I honestly would recommend for your support to be a Torbjorn and a Soldier, McCree, or Ashe. Hell, even a Hanzo would do. The reason I say Torbjorn is because you set up your turret in a corner somewhere and you make it the mid range of the Hog. The idea here is that Hog pulls someone in, the turret starts damaging them, and you're doing damage to them. It's helping secure kills.
Yeah, it's like passive Bastion. You don't play offensive Bastion, you play Bastion in the back line. And then they just get mowed down and they can't do anything with it because I can't get close to them. You can't
If
hit
not,
something you can't reach.
if not Torb, defensive Symmetra.
Yeah.
Those two, Symmetra and Torb, function so well with Hog if you're running two off tanks because even doesn't matter if you're on attack or defense. If you're on attack, again, just have Torb play mid and Symmetra plays defense, even
Hmm.
on offense, because Hog needs that extra little bit of support.
Hmm.
I wouldn't recommend running an Ana though with a Hog. Nano be damned, it's not a very good pick overall. Hog can heal himself, and you're not really doing that much damage amp. I would instead recommend running like off healers, or Zenyatta is actually a really good pick with Hog.
I'd say so, yeah, because he can do a lot of damage than Discord. Because Hog can basically one-shot squishies already. So imagine a Discorded squishy.
Almost. Some squishy survive.
Yeah, some of them, but I would say the majority of them, he can
The
one-shot.
most.
And if not, he doesn't one-shot them, he combo shots them. So imagine that Discorded. That's like freaking
No.
terrifying.
So it's just like this whole shebang of healers you wouldn't normally play them. I'd say Ana and Bap are the two worst healers for a double off tank comp. Just because Baptiste, well, first Ana doesn't have the luxury of having the shield there, and you can play Ana from high ground, yeah, but again, you're not benefiting anyone because they're both off tanks. They both have decent survivability, and they're moving around a lot. They're not like a shield tank where they stay pretty stationary. It's harder to
Yeah.
hit. Baptiste, not because he's bad, just because your healing doesn't do a whole lot. You're not healing a whole lot.
Hmm.
Like, you're healing them up to full, and you can keep them up to full, but you're not doing a whole lot otherwise. Sure, get a few kills, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In terms of the kits beyond that, like Lucio, Zen, Moira, Mercy especially, phenomenal. Amazing job. Brig, not so much.
Hmm.
Brig does not fit here because Brig, like many things, like a meth and coke addict put together, um,
Oh,
like
okay.
like sticking a meth and coke addict together, very few places will help them out nor trust them.
Right.
And just like a meth and coke addict, you'll have the jitters because you won't be able to stop moving and damaging things, but also just like meth, you're gonna feel like you're being sluggish and that you black out and then die.
Hmm.
What I'm trying to say here is you're not very good in the back line, you're not very good on the front line either, and nothing's getting past the front line because the hog's always moving.
Right.
I guess you could like have him hook someone, he kills them, and if he didn't kill them, you shield bash them from getting away. I guess. Could also do the same thing with McCree, or Torbjorn, or Symmetra, or anyone else. You're not risking a healer over it. I'd say you're honest, your best pick is probably like a Lucio Mercy, a Zen Mercy, or a Zen Moira. Moira Mercy doesn't feel that great. Just, there's a lot of healing.
Hmm.
There's just too much healing. I'm saying, yeah, I can't believe I'm saying this. There's too much healing because both supports won't build ult fast enough. Anywho, um, wow, we've just gotten off our thoughts and it's already been an hour.
Oopsie. It's gonna be a long one.
Maybe.
We're still on the first topic, aren't we?
Yeah,
Oh shit. Well, we kind of technically went into main versus off tank, I guess.
kinda, but not
We kind
really.
of we kind of sub went into it.
So, main versus off tank.
Personally, I play off tank, so I'm team off tank. What about you?
I'm team main tank, obviously.
Because you play main tank? Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, but what I'm more so meant about this is for the definition here, what do we consider main tanks and what do we consider off tanks?
Oh shit.
Sigma doesn't count. He's both. Can we agree on that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and
He's
Orisa too.
Sigma's that I don't agree with Orisa.
Well, fine then, but I would say she's kind
Can
of in the
I
same situation.
may I say why I don't agree with Orisa?
Sure.
I don't agree with Orisa mainly because what I consider to be off in main tank is I make a very clear distinction. Main tanks have shields, off tanks do not.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I categorize Orisa as a main tank, because Sigma is a special child that has a shield but also has the abilities of an off tank.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the special child, the one that we talk about a lot, bring up to all the movie posters, but like forget about and shunt him in his room.
Oh
Um,
my god.
abusive parenthood. And, did you have a PTSD lapse?
I do not endorse this behavior. That's all I'm saying. I do not endorse this
That's how
behavior whatsoever.
that's how the community treats them. We talked about them in high regard, and we shunt them into a closet and never see them again.
Yeah, until we need to bring him out again to say, hey, look at this.
It's like, hey, I brought you some food, some water. How you doing, buddy? Yeah, we need you to play. Okay, yep. Did a great job. Now go back to the fucking closet till I need you again.
Oh my god.
He's like a weak and tired, bony person goes back to the closet, hanging his head. And like,
Aww.
can I finally play with community like me again? We just need to do some rebalancing, Sigma, and then I'm sure the community will love you for sure.
Yeah, okay.
Sticks him in the closet, hangs a sign over the door, never touching it ever again.
I sadly I can kind of see that. Is that bad?
No, it's not bad entirely. So Reinhardt, main tank. The reason I don't find Orisa as an off tank, Orisa has too much beefiness and sustainability with her shield in conjunction with her abilities that I don't find her to be an off tank. Simply because I'd say she's a main tank, but a main tank buster.
Hmm.
So Hog is what I would consider a main tank buster, along with Orisa. Whereas, I'd say Sigma and Monkey are off tank busters.
Okay.
So what I mean by a tank buster? A tank buster is a tank that can oppose directly another tank, mess up their playstyle, and force them to take you out before they do anything else.
Hmm.
Arista counters Reinhardt hardcore. Your Halt counters his pin. You can do damage against his shield. You can make it so he can't move away as fast with your pull. She also, funny enough, counters Diva in some regards. Because if you can pull her and keep her from going away, she can't get away. And because because her crit is right in the middle of her body, not the head,
Hmm.
it makes it really easy to shoot her.
Like Orisa versus Diva.
Arisa versus Diva, it's really easy to take Diva out.
I would say yeah. Also, that would be the same situation with like a Zarya. Typically, if you see a Zarya, uh, you don't exactly go, what do you call it? You don't exactly go Diva if you see a Zarya, unless you're like me, and I just like pain, so
You rough
I
it
just
out.
go Diva anyway. Yeah, I just go Diva anyway.
And so she can bust down tanks fairly easily along with her DPS and counter
Hmm.
most of them. And she has a lot of tank versus she again, I honestly would consider more of a DPS than a tank. The same thing how like making Doomfist a tank, kind of okay. He was kind of more of a tank to begin with. He gained shield off things. He would be able to sustain himself forever in the fucking backline as long as he was getting hits on somebody.
Hmm.
So, in terms of Orisa having the shield, she has every ability to be able to fuck up most main tanks and most off tanks in the game. Hog is another tank buster. He can hook a monkey, he can hook a diving tank, and it just fuck him up. Either he hooks the monkey and almost kills the monkey, or he hooks a diva and almost demechs the diva.
Hmm.
Like, there's no. I mean, you can do the same thing with Orion. If he charges you, you can just hook him and hit him, but he has a shield to put up and slowly walk away with.
Yeah.
Monkey is an off tank buster because off tanks don't have a shield, so they can't defend against him.
Hmm.
Even if they do have a shield, you can still break through the shield, but because off tanks specifically don't have anything to go against the monkey unless you're a hog and you get that hook, you're kind of the off tanks are kind of fucked.
Hmm.
Now, ball, offer main, or is it both?
Ball is definitely an off tank. However, I would not play him in comp whatsoever.
Um, I'd say ball can play like a main tank, but his style.
No.
Well, here's the difference. So
All right.
I thought about this one for a while. I may not be. I think there's a playstyle with Ball you can play for him to be an off tank. So normally you have Ball go into the backline and disrupt the backline, right?
Yes.
Well, I'm figuring if you have a very brawly comp, meaning there's a lot of people that are super brawly on the other team, you take a swing and you basically dive into the middle of their team and you displace them as much as possible.
Hmm.
In that regard, I would consider him a main tank if you're going up against brawly comps or pick comps, where the whole point is he's going in the middle to disrupt them. He's playing like a main tank. He's taking most of the damage, causing most people to focus on him, and creating a large gap of space to be made.
Hmm.
He's like Sigma, in my opinion. He's both. Except with Sigma, it's dependent on what other tank you have. With Ball, it's dependent on what comp they're running.
Hmm. Okay.
Because if they're running Brawl comp, you disperse them all, and usually you can get one pick now. Because you've
Hmm.
displaced them all, and they either have to focus on you, or Ball will get one pick on. And if you do a pick comp, and you have him go in the back line, he, again, displaces them all, and now they're all out from behind the shield, trying to either hit the ball, and because they're all long range, they're trying desperately to hit the short range son of a bitch with long range weapons.
I mean, he's a big circle. He's got
I
literally the
want you to
easiest
I
hitbox.
want you to tell me this. If you had an Ashe and a Widow as your DPS in a pick comp, and they came behind and smashed the Ashe or smashed the Widow, how hard would it be as a Widow or an Ashe to take care of this ball? Try to scope it and get a shot on him when he's rushing all around you, moving around.
So I would say that's not Widow's job. Widow's job is not to kill tanks.
No, what
She's
I'm
more
saying,
so.
well, what I'm saying is, say like he goes over and hits the Widow first. It's a Widow versus the ball, or it's the Ashe versus the ball. He's
I would
up,
say Ash
like
can
he's
deal with
up in your face.
uh I can say Ash can deal with Ball a lot better than Widow can, because unless you're playing like an attack Widow or your Widow style is to literally play beside your team, typically Widows are in the back. So if a Ball is literally pining for the Widow, it's basically a 5v5 situation. So as long as they're taking each other out or attempting to take each other out, um, then it's kind of fine.
I've
Ash,
heard so
she
many
can boop him
people.
back, dynamite him, and get him as low as possible. Typically, he tries to go back to his team as quickly as possible,
The
and
I
he's either low
the
or he
idea
gets
with
killed already.
so the idea with this kind of ball style is you don't go back to your team. The idea is you rush in, you displace them, and you have your team rush in after.
Hmm.
What you're trying to do as ball here is you're trying to create a large gap of free space. So normally with a pick comp on the opposing team, the idea is that you have this large space between you and them, and that space is the sniper zone. If you what I call like a sniper zone is like a sniper alley. As long as you're in that zone, you have potential for getting picked off, and they're focus firing one thing at a time.
Hmm. Okay.
Whereas ball can go behind, smash down, and cause a large disruption. You flood everybody into that zone to crunch as much space as possible, so there's not that sniper zone anymore. And now you're brawling, or you're going up against them and killing them. The ball will most likely either maybe die or get at super low health, but the idea is for him to make a large gap of space smaller, so your team can rush in and fuck him up.
Okay.
In terms of brawl comp, the idea is the same. Again, you're slamming down into their brawl comp, and then your team rushes in. The difference here is when you're doing a brawl comp, you have your team do a pincer attack. DPS flank behind, the other tank and healers come from up front. Make sense?
Yeah, that makes a little bit more sense.
Ball dives in. He's not really diving because they're already pretty up front. He goes in, hits him right square in the front instead of going to the back line. You rush in and support him, and he then disperses from there.
Mhm.
Very concentrated fire. It also requires a lot of teamwork to play ball as a main tank.
Yeah, considering he's not designed to be a main tank, yeah.
But I still think the play style is there. It's kind of like a flank Ryan. You can flank as him, but he's not great
Oh
as
yeah.
flanking. So, in terms of that, I'd say ball's like Sigma. Depends on the comp they're running, whether you play him off or main tank. Sigma depends on the tank you play.
Mhm.
I think Sigma is going to stay in this weird part of too overpowered, but also too underpowered.
Mhm.
Sigma's so fucking weird. He's like this weird middle ground of he can change the tide of a game and last an eternity in the fight as long as they're, you know, aiming at him somewhat.
Mhm.
But also, if he's not supported at all, he can survive. But if he is supported, sometimes he fails. It's like this weird back and forth of you're good and you're also shit at the same time. Because if they're playing Brawly, you're kind of fucked. But you're also not really, because they can still be firing at you and you can still sustain yourself.
Mhm.
But you're also not really able to hit them as easily because they have a lot of shields up front with you. And you're usually hitting yourself. So it's like it's this weird. It's weird. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if you're not playing a pick comp, if like you are playing a pick comp, he's like he doesn't have the range they do. So like you're only there for shield only. Again, Sigma plays like this weird middle backline kind of thing, in my opinion. He's not
Mhm.
a frontline tank, but he's not a backline tank either. It's weird.
Yeah, he is a weird character, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep. Although he has one of the most useful ultimates in the game.
Yeah.
Although it's one of the hardest to combo.
Yeah, for good reason. I'm glad it's hard to combo.
I think my favorite, my favorite, is because Grav will hold something in the air as long as you hit it in the air.
Mhm.
You can have them all be raised up, hit a Grav, so they're launched in the air. You throw a Grav up in the air and it hits like a Pharah or something. So they're all stuck up there with the Pharah.
Oh
And then it slams
God.
them down, but they take the slamming damage, but they're still stuck in the air.
Oh God. That I would cry. Oh my God. I would probably want to uninstall. That's probably the only thing that would make me uninstall.
If you got Sigma ulted, but they threw a Grav up and you're stuck in the air while also taking the slam damage and you're still stuck in the air from the Grav.
Yeah, I'd be like, I'm done. Overwatch, please, I'm done. I don't.
Because the
You
idea is
should have
like.
lubed me up first.
Because like
Literally, you should have lubed me up first.
that is
Like,
one of the
why?
most cruelest things I've seen in comp was a Sigma rose him because I rose him up and our Zarya grabbed them, but she grabbed the Pharah in the sky, so it sucked everybody towards the middle. They
Hmm.
took the damage from it and they're stuck in the sky because of the Pharah with the grav.
Yeah.
They didn't get shunted down because of Sigma's ult. They still took the damage from it though, and our snipers had a field day. Just like
I don't endorse this behavior
I
at
mean,
all.
Junkrat through one mine. Boom, they're all dead.
Yeah, again, I do not endorse this behavior at all. I don't endorse bullying, okay? I do not endorse bullying.
I think my other favorite one is a Rhine Slam plus Sigma up.
No. 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 That
Or
one
my,
I can kind of deal with a bit better, but I'm still like, are you fucking kidding me?
you want to know what's even worse though?
What?
Sigma ult, then Diva Bomb.
I mean, I've done it. It's satisfying as hell to watch, but again, I don't endorse bullying. I've done it,
either
but I don't endorse
either
bullying.
the bomb hits first and they all die, or they take partial damage and then they get slammed down and they all die.
Mm-hmm. Um, Another fun one. This is like off topic. But another fun one is Sombra Hack Diva Bomb.
God, poor
because
Reinhardt. Poor
the
Reinhardt.
minute the thing is I was playing with a friend of mine, and we were dealing with like a bunch of randoms that we never played before. So we had a rando Sombra that we were playing with, and I had to like coax this girl into like doing what I wanted her to do because they're just like, no, it's never gonna work. Like I don't know what I'm doing. I'm like, trust me, wait like 1 second because my bomb takes like 3 seconds, right? So I said, once you get your ult, wait until it reaches the ground and then pop your ult. And it will kill all of them because they won't have anything because they're hacked. They can't do anything to stop it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was on, I think it was not Lijiang, it was the other one where it's 2 CP. And we did it to them twice. We did it on the first one. I actually have this posted on TikTok. I should be able to find it. I have this posted on TikTok. And I ended up getting like a 5K, almost 6K with the first one. I had to kill the sixth person, I think. And then I got like a 4K with the second one. And it is the meanest fucking thing you can do. Because their Reinhardt was like, huh, I got this. No, you don't, buddy. Oh my God, it was terrible.
Uh,
Again, I don't endorse bullying. That right there is bullying. I don't endorse it. I
is
promise.
it bullying though?
That I would say that's bullying. Yeah, I would say that's bullying.
You
Just
want to know?
a little bit. It's
You want to know? You
unintentional,
want to know what
but
else is bullying?
what?
So you throw Bob in, and then you stick them all up in the air.
That is mean as hell.
Or the other one is you stick them up in the air and torbolts.
Oh, floor's
I
lava for real. Floor is lava for real.
think the only other mean one that I can come up with is oh, what is it? So I don't recommend you do this, as this is just for the spectacle, not for the actual efficientness of ultimate like comp.
Right, okay, got
But
it.
you throw everybody up with a dragon, and you ready Hanzo's ultimate and Genji's ultimate at the same time. And you tap it, so the dragon goes right through, they get slammed down into the dragon, and Genji dashes through to kill anyone that was left over.
Oh my God. I would say that's too many ults personally, but
That's just
like,
for the spectacle.
oh fuck. I would hate that. Oh my God.
Two Japanese men screaming out their lungs, and it slams you down.
Oh
It's
jeez.
scary.
That is fucking scary.
You get gang banged by the Shimada brothers.
Uh, no comment.
Oh my god, little one.
No comment. No fucking comment. I'm not getting my ass in trouble.
I guess you enjoy some dragon porn.
Oh my God. Shut the fuck up.
Mata mata, I need healing.
No. Fuck you.
I'd prefer not to.
Thank God. Okay. Next question.
Balance.
Balance.
Do you think anyone needs a rebalance?
Mm, other than my normal gripes about DPS, I say tanks are
No,
okay.
just for tanks. Just for tanks. Do you think anyone needs a buff or a nerf on tanks?
This is probably gonna sound weird, but I don't think so.
I
Like
can.
I'm relatively okay where everyone is right now.
Okay. So I can come up with two things. I think Reinhardt needs one buff,
Okay.
and the only buff I want is I want Reinhardt's hammer to do knockback.
Okay.
Left or right. I want it to knock them left or right. So when he swings left, I want it to knock him to the left. When he swings right, I want it to knock him to the right.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense.
Because I feel that would be so useful for getting either DPS off my back or pushing up into a Ryan that's like not swinging on me. It's like displacement. Like, no, get the
Hmm.
fuck out of the way.
It's like, leave me alone. My bubble. Don't go in my bubble.
This is my no square. And then I think Monkey definitely needs a buff. The way I propose this buff is I think Monkey needs more ammo. Either more ammo or a higher damaging electricity.
Okay.
Either more damage or more ammo. Because he's not doing enough damage really when he's split up into a team that he's just annoying. He's not
Hmm.
threatening, he's annoying. Sure, he dives the Ana. Yeah, he's pretty threatening then, but hog hooks you. You're like, oh, well, I guess I'm dead now. Like, he's not a threatening presence anymore.
Hmm.
They have a hog. They have a hog or a McCree. You're dead. They just have a McCree. You're probably dead. They just have a Reaper. You're probably also dead, along with like a Junkrat or a Ferret or something. Before, I could definitely see where he was like used a lot, where like Reaper and McCree were like his only counters. But now with like Sombra in the game and like Symmetra being a soft counter to him, it's yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's a pretty bad. Yeah, it's a pretty bad, I think.
English. Englishy, it is pretty bad, I think.
Oh my God.
How stroke time.
Yeah, you're freaking terrible.
Also, I want to give Hog a buff.
No, can we nerf his hook into the fucking ground,
Well,
please?
it's not a hook thing. It's a movement speed thing.
Yeah, I don't care. He still needs it.
I want
I
him
don't give a shit.
I want him slightly faster. The only other buff I can think of is Orisa. I want her to move faster than Zenyatta. If you
Uh,
stick the two in a race, they're pretty equal matched.
okay.
I want her to be faster than the slow robot that only floats. Because one has a levitation field that pushes air. The other one has fucking robotic legs. Legs move faster than levitation.
But of course, of course.
I feel like he's in a fucking paddle boat. And he's like, row, row, row your boat through the gentle hair. Merrily, 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 merry, there goes my own ass from a Doomfist.
Mm-hmm. Or a Valking Mercy just 'cause I can.
Oh, God. Fucking pain in the ass. Although,
PTSD there.
no, not really PTSD, more of just like, I usually Discord them, and I'll have like the hog turn around and be like, "Haha, see ya," and hook her, and boom, she's dead.
No, no.
This is why you don't flank Mercy.
I mean, I've caught in a lot of I've caught a lot of Zens as Valkyrie Mercy, so not to brag, but
Ah, yes,
I've done team
your
wipes as
humble brag,
Mercy.
Healbot Mercy. Come back to me when you damage amp.
I do damage amp quite a lot
Uh huh.
compared to
Uh huh. Mhm.
compared to
Mhm.
what
Mhm.
you run into. Let's be
Mhm.
honest.
Uh huh. Yeah. Uh huh.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Shut up.
And Yellowstone isn't a super volcano, and our economy isn't gonna crash.
I mean, hasn't it already technically crashed?
And the Canadian government isn't. The Canadian governor is not a total asshole. He's a lively little peach who's a wonderful, wonderful leader.
No, don't get me fucking started on that man. Please don't get me fucking started on him. Please don't.
Next up is, well, we kind of already covered each of the tanks and what we thought of them, but got any like unsavory subjects you want to talk about? Any particular tank you don't find all that great? Anything you want to get off your chest?
Think so. I think I'm good. Uh, I think Overwatch does what it can. So I'm not like super like harsh on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Although at this point I just want more content.
Yeah, I think
Like,
everybody does a little bit.
honestly speaking, the Quake Champions game that only gets updated once per year shouldn't have more content than Overwatch. When the only thing added to that game is 2 maps. And it's like, bruh, seriously? This one game that's been like fucking around since the dawn of PC's time on Earth
Hmm.
got a remaster and is barely getting updated with content. And you're telling me as a dev team you can't just like release a new map or release a shader of a new map?
Hmm.
Oh no, of course, because I love recolored skins. Yay. I I, I
Yeah,
love my skins getting recolored. Whoa! Fun.
I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way.
Ah yes, the new hog skin. We replaced the liquid with purple instead of green.
Yep.
Fancy. Oh, we made Lucio's frog skin that has like 3 other colorations. Blue this time. See, we're trying.
We're trying. Yeah, I would say that. Yeah, we're trying.
The Catwoman skin. It's no longer a black cat. It's a white cat with pink
I
accents
mean,
instead of
in my
purple.
defense, I don't mind that because it should have gotten a white cat diva. So I
No,
don't
I
mind
said
that one too bad.
Sombra. Sombra. Sombra.
I mean, I don't either. Again, like that one makes sense to have like a second one with.
And then there's. I blocked all the other ones out of my mind.
Because they're so bad. There was the
Oh yeah,
night owl
edgy wolf boy.
yeah, a
So let
a
me get this
third
straight.
skin.
We
Yay.
have furries from Time Forgot, and then we have furries that are noble in pursuit of purest white. You know, the regular old fursonas, and
Hmm.
then we have super edgy furries that like death metal, My Chemical Romance, misery mixed with CPR.
Misery loves company.
Mm-hmm. Of I'm gonna hit all the shots because everybody hates me, but I'm gonna prove them wrong today. That I'm a amazing Hanzo.
No thanks.
I'm gonna imagine that all you're dying in my head, and I have dreams of fantasizing about how I'm gonna kill you with this arrow. Pain.
I feel sorry to our listeners right now.
It's my impression of an emo furry.
It's a bit emo for
Face the mighty power of my wolf. Rawr.
No. So you got it wrong. It's RXD. There you go.
God.
Let's be honest. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of furries were also like e-boys
Face
and
the mighty
e-girls.
power of my wolf. Woo. X3 nuzzles bounces on you. Ooh, woo. Did
Oh,
you did you enjoy my high pitched voice?
no, no, I did not.
Ooh, woo.
No, I'm good. I'm good. You're so fucking weird. I can't deal with you. You're so fucking weird.
I'm fucking weird? How am I fucking weird?
Oh my god, I just can't.
How am I weird, little one? Please tell me.
No, no. Did you even entertain that? I'm just like, mm-mm.
Ooh, ooh, ada, X3 nuzzles, bounces on you. Ooh, ooh.
Jeez.
Big Papi Senpai.
You're gonna
Welcome.
attract all the furries to your podcast.
Welcome to the cum zone. Oh, God, I love that song, though.
Oh yeah, do ya?
Yeah, it's pretty fucking funny.
Huh, I
Welcome to
bet.
the cum zone. I'll have to show it to you later.
I think I'm good. I don't need to be aware of this.
No, I'm gonna make you aware. I'm gonna give you the curse thing. It'll give you cancer. Don't worry about it.
Oh god, Joy.
I hate it when you do that. Oh, God. Sound like a fucking Karen. You either sound like a Karen or a bimbo. It's like either one.
I mean,
Oh my God.
Karen lives matter? Question mark. That's
No,
not a
no,
hashtag anyone's going to hop on.
no, no. Nuke the Karens. That's a better one. If the Cold War ever goes hot, nuke the Karens. Send them all on the front line as shields. They can talk to their Russian managers.
Oh god.
Can I speak to your manager, sir? Oh. Get shot. District attorney. Any other pre-ramble we want to go over?
No, I think I am good now.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
thank you all for joining the Overtalk podcast. We will see you in the next one.